have we here? Hi and welcome back to the shed. I'm Joe Bleeps, and today I took delivery of the new home console from Evercade. It's called the Evercade VS or the Evercade Versus, and this is the Founder Edition. We're going to unbox it, take a look at it, and then I'm going to have a bit of a play. So let's get straight into it. Alright, so I recently made a video about the Evercade handheld and I am absolutely loving it. I'm playing on it much more than I expected to. So many games on all these different cartridges, and it's just a satisfying pick up and play piece of hardware, great ergonomics. And I wanted to show you this first because it's had a recent upgrade on the firmware. Quite a significant change in terms of navigating through the menus, choosing the different games and so on. So I wanted to show you that first, and the reason it's had the firmware upgrade is to bring it in line with the new home console. It's pretty good, and it was dead easy to install as well, which is always a plus. Simply downloaded the installer on my Mac. There's a Windows version as well. Connect up with the USB cable, hold down the menu, switch on, and it just automatically upgrades. It was dead easy, and it took about a minute. So that is just by the by, because I'm loving this console, but I actually pre-ordered the home console first. I'd had my eye on these for quite a while. When the home console was announced, I thought, right, okay, so I got a pre-order in, then bought this in the meantime to see if it was for me, and it's pretty much confirmed that it is. Now, the home console, so let's take a look at the box. Right, I've had to zoom out quite a bit because it's quite a tall box. It's like a sort of square-ended, boxy cuboid. It's got a lovely picture. Let's get it the right way around. Got a lovely picture of the console on the front and just minimal graphics all the way around. So this was from Funstock in the UK. The standard console is in the same sort of colourway as my handheld there with the red and the white. But this one, the Founders Edition, is in black with red, and I thought that would be pretty cool to get my hands on. I picked this bundle up for £159.99, and they are currently going for silly money on eBay. I mean, to the extent that it would be tempting to sell it and just make a couple of £100 on it if it weren't for the fact that it's just so awesome looking. So I am going to open it up. We're going to take a look at it. Excited. Let's get going. First things first, we'll try and get this shrink wrap off without damaging the box. Okay, so the box now with the wrap off, you can see that there's this spot UV varnishing on the box there. So it's like a matte finish black, the glossy finish on the picture of the console on the front. For opening up, similar to the handheld console, it's got like a slide off sleeve. And there's the picture of the console on the front of the box. And the box opens up again in a similar way to the handheld. Up and over, and here we are. Okay, that is a lovely little dinky machine. It's got two cartridge slots in there, 4 USB ports on the front for controllers, micro USB for the power, HDMI out, and a little switch. I don't know, I'm assuming reset switch, and a power switch on top. What else is in the box? So this is the Founder Edition, which means you get extra bits and pieces. Steel case. I am always terrible at opening steel cases. There we go. So there's a steel case which you can store 6 cartridges in. There is a little Evercade keyring, the certificate of authenticity, postcards with the controller and the console. Underneath here we have paperwork, a poster, and we've got some games. Data East Arcade 1, Technos Arcade 1. Another layer, more games. Atari Arcade 1, Galeco Arcade 1. Is there more? Yes, there is. We've got the Bitmap Brothers Collection 1, and we've got Intellivision Collection 1. I'm getting so excited. We just knocked the whole thing. Okay, so at the bottom we've got controllers and we've got cables. Now you could buy additional controllers. It was very tempting at the time to buy more, but I don't really need them. I know there's 4 controller ports, but you can use the handheld as one controller. That's a pretty hefty, substantial feeling piece of kit. We've got 2 shoulder buttons. We've got the start select button in the middle. The face buttons and the D-pad feel really good, and it's more ergonomic than you'd think, like with the little rounded over section at the back here. That's really comfortable to hold. I am liking that. So we get 2 of those. Micro USB for power, and we have a micro USB cable there. So we've got 2 micro USB cables. I like the red. We'll get our trays back in. I love how these stack up inside the box. Okay, so time for a closer look. This is our console. 4 little rubber feet. It's sort of rounded over on the bottom. Feels nice. It's like a matte finish plastic, except the power button is glossy. I like this as well. It's like the NES, but it's instead of just the tiny little bit, the whole lot flips up and the cartridges will slot in here. We've got this little strip across the front which will lit up when it's powered. It's just super simple, no frills. And obviously the controllers, very retro, no wireless controllers. Be interesting to see if some of those come along at some point, either from Evercade or perhaps from 8-Bit Do. 8-Bit Do, I never know what it's called. Anyway, if they make a wireless controller, that'd be pretty cool. It's a fairly long USB cable. Controller's almost as big as the console. They're just a USB controller. They will just plug in the front like we've got there. Yeah, it's nice kind of retro vibes. It definitely feels like a new console. It's a really nice design. And I certainly think in black, I am liking that. I'm really happy with that. And I think the controllers look nice in black. And it should look pretty nice on my shelves, which we'll check out in a bit. Okay, so to get a brand new release console with 2 controllers for £159.99 is pretty good anyway. But for it to come with 6 game collections, I think that was an absolute bargain. I mean, I know that these are all old games that have been around for a long time. I know it's not a cutting edge console, but in terms of the amount of fun I think I'm going to have playing it, it's certainly great. And not only have we got these games, we've also got the poster keychain with the little controller on there, which I really like. And obviously with this, the standard controller is white, but this is part of the Founder Edition, so it's got the Founder Edition colours. And the actual steelbook itself is really nice. Same images that we've got all over the postcard there. Inside the tin, we've got the shaped foam. So we've got these with the purple branding are the new range with arcade games compared to the previous ones, which were console games. So they're like numbered, and that's like 21 and 22. Whereas these are the purple ones, they're numbered 1 to 4 at the moment because they're the newer range. So let's say if we just open up the Technos one. So it comes with the 6 cartridges. The cartridges themselves in these sort of retro style clamshell cases. They come with the little instruction booklets that have loads of detail in, you know, a little bit of history about Technos, about the games. So we've got Double Dragon 2, The Revenge, Double Dragon 3, The Rosetta Stone, The Combat Tribes, Mysterious Stones, Blockout, Mania Challenge, Minky Monkey, Battle Lane Volume 5, and then a bit of information about Evercade in there as well. I mean, that is really nice in terms of presentation. So our cartridges will go into the case here like this, so either that way around or that way around. I think it's probably best if we put that in like that and then push in place. So you've got storage for all 6 of those games that come with it, which is a lovely addition. Got my quick start guide there. So I am assuming it's going to be fairly straightforward. You just put the cartridges in, connect up the cables and switch on. This is just telling us what all the different buttons are, all the things we'd already looked at. Confirm that the little button on the back is a reset button. And then there's information about playing and saving games and so on. But all of that seems to be very similar to the handheld version. The poster, let's take a look at that. So it's a proper retro style image there. That's really, really nice. I noticed with grown-ups playing it there, little arcade machines at the side and so on. And on the other side, loads of different game covers on. It's a tough choice as to which side you would put up on the wall. Postcards, controller with the CAD files, the console CAD files there, and the certificate of authenticity as we looked at before. That is everything. I think it's time to go and get it hooked up. I'll have a little play and I'll let you know what it's like. So we're pretty much good to go. We've got our whole range of cartridges. Turns out the red cable is to attach to the original Evercade to use as a separate controller. I really like that. It's a nice touch. Now we've got our controller all plugged in. So I've managed to find a space for the console itself. It's been a little while since you saw my games set up, but I've moved my PlayStation 2 up to the top left for the time being. That's been unplugged, but it nestles in nicely just with the Wii U. I've got a new speaker bracket that I 3D printed that keeps my middle speaker from a surround sound out of the way, and it's a nice little spot for my controllers. Xbox Series S added in there. I don't know if you've seen that one on there before. PlayStation 4 below, and we've got the Evercade next to the Dreamcast and the GameCube, and in between the PlayStation VR and all the mini consoles. I was going to put this with the mini consoles, but I think it's worthy of being elevated to full console status. I know we've got the lowly Xbox down at the bottom there. I'm still meaning to do a video on that one at some point. But for now, the star of the show is this little thing here, the Evercade versus... I've borrowed the HDMI cable that I use for my Dreamcast and my GameCube, so I'll scroll through the inputs till we get to GameCube. There we are. Okay, so we're on there. The TV's all on. Okay, so time for first switch on. And nothing. Okay, so first page of the manual, right down here, power button turns Evercade VS on and off. To power on the console, press down the power button for 0.5 seconds. So maybe I just wasn't patient enough. So time for the grand switch on. Ooh, it's blue and it's purple and it's all out of focus, alternating between the purple and the blue. And up on the screen, here we are. And it's settled on this kind of, I don't know whether it reminds me more of Knight Rider or 18, but it's a lovely 80s vibe to that black and red. It really transforms the look of the whole thing. English. Evercade VS, welcome to the VS. Down at the bottom of the screen here, we've got setup Wi-Fi. So here's our network password screen. We've got a license agreement. Okay, so it's going to make us scroll all the way through the license agreement before we can press OK. Yes, I definitely read all that. Update available. Would you like to update now? Well, yes, I would. That's just installing the update there. Just be patient. Oh, looks like it's doing something. That's now lit up white. It's kind of cool, it lights up white when the Blaze logo comes on. Alternates between the colours flashing. And then here we are. Right then. No cartridge inserted, so here's our main interface. Information at the side here for the cartridge. We've got the settings, just a nice clean interface with a nice retro look to it. Right, so I'm going to go with a home cartridge and an arcade cartridge in there. Now, I suppose this is where we find out if it's okay to hot swap the cartridges. Here's our cartridge bay, so there's 2 slots there. You can have 2 games in at a time. So I'll put the Bitmap Brothers Collection 1 on the left. That fits reassuringly snugly in there, and we heard a little chunk from the TV. If we look up there, it's loaded our games up. Okay, so we've got like a little row, Bitmap Brothers Technos collection. Slide that one in alongside. Do we hear the noise? Again, let's close our lid. And now look at that. So it kind of has 2 cartridges in, but all the games on the 2 cartridges fit to the 2 menus. Just have a moment of appreciation for this controller with its glossy surface. It's like a matte finish on the central area and then glossy on the rest of it. That is nice. Here is our interface, and we can just navigate through. Because we've got the 2 cartridges in, it just gives us the list of all the games there. And if we look at the top, it tells us there the 2 cartridges in, how many games we've got in total, and we can navigate our way through there. So let's go on, oh, what should we go with? Okay. That's got to be done. Let's see if we've got the Bomb the Bass music on this one. I have to say I was surprised that we had to do updates, but it's nice to have that latest firmware. Okay. I haven't really thought this through. I'm playing one-handed, trying to do this and film and not shoot. It's quite good fun. Yeah, I'm in pacifist mode. And see how far I can get. So we are getting sound effects. It's just that the music stopped there. It looks great, and it's already got like the aspect ratio set up. On the controller, there's this button here, which is like the menu button. So if I have the game running and I press that menu button, then it will bring up this menu here. Quick save, load last save, save, load, controls, display settings, and quick game. So I'm going to go down to display settings, and we can choose between original ratio, pixel perfect, or full screen. So I'm assuming pixel perfect will be perhaps slightly smaller. Original ratio, and we'll see how that looks. So it's slightly larger, it stretches it just a bit to fit the screen. Pixel perfect will probably be displayed a little smaller, but that's what I'm going to go with. And then shaders, scan lines. So I like having it set to none. I'm not really a fan of scan lines, but you can have subtle scan lines or strong scan lines. There's also bezels, and you can have none, or there's the VS just set up at the side. Might be kind of cool for the lights on the TV. Evercade Origin, wireframe, Ratchet lot of, I'm probably missing something obvious with that, but there we go. Logo legends. So we got loads of different bezels, box art as well. In this case, let's keep it on box art and see how that looks when we come back out. So we just press B to go back. All of the box art around the edge, various different games, and the pixel perfect ratio on the game, which is what I think I'm going to go on with. So yeah, that is a quick look at the Evercade VS. Alright, so the next bit of testing is with this red cable. So I've plugged that into the handheld unit. The console has got player 1 and player 2 controllers plugged in. The red cable is connected to our handheld, and it tell you what, it is a nice long cable as well. On the handheld, go to Settings, System, select Activate Gamepad Mode. Settings, System, Controller Mode. Hold menu for 5 seconds to exit. So now this will act as a third controller. So if I try pressing the menu button on here, nothing happens. I need to use the main controller for the menu button, and then I can go to Quit Game. Now once the game is quit, and then I'm on my handheld controller, so if I can press B, it should bring us back out, and then we're back to our other menu, and then I can move around with the D-pad, and this is all on my Evercade handheld, so I can navigate my way around there. I can choose another game, so let's go with Speedball 2, bit of Brutal Deluxe, and launch that with A. So all of these things work. It just seems to be the menu button doesn't bring up the menu, and I don't think that's too much of an issue, but it's maybe something worth knowing just to save on any confusion. We get the option to play, so we'll just A on there. Okay, so the game has loaded. It's telling me to push start. I am connected on the Evercade. Press start. Nothing's happening. On my main controller here, if I press the start button there, that automatically launches the game. So I can now navigate my way around there, and my handheld controller is doing nothing. All right, so a bit more playtime on Double Dragon and a bit more investigating using this as a second controller. I moved the cable across because nothing was happening when I was trying to get player 2 to start. So I moved the controller across to the second USB port, and it started straight away. And although it's being beaten up there, if I move around a little bit there, you can see that the second controller is working. So what I'm going to do is try swapping it over to player 1. Now it's plugged into player 1, and nothing is happening. Okay, so basically it's best to use this as an additional controller. Use the standard controller as your main one. Right, so I've set up a tripod so we can have a little bit of a better look at the interface. I like the way that it loads up both lots of games. You don't have to swap between cartridges. You've just got the whole list of different games to choose from. We'll try Battle Lane Volume 5. So when you're on the main screen for a game, you've got a screenshot up at the top, the original artwork at the side. You can jump straight into play. It tells you that it's a shoot 'em up. It's for 2 players. So again, there's lots of multiplayer games now that you can play because you've got the additional controllers. We can go down and look at the controls. So you move the motorbike to start the game. We can insert the coin. So it's proper authentic arcade controls. And A and B fires the missile and fires the machine gun. Now if we go on to read more, it gives us a bit of more information about the game. Just a quick rundown of what the game is like. And then we go to play and it will load. Now, because it's an arcade game, you get the authentic arcade boot as well. So again, we've got a much bigger screen around the edge because this is like a vertical screen game. Right then, so if we press select, it should start to insert some credits, and then we press start and it'll launch the game. We've got the B button for the gun and the A button for the missiles. The D-pad and the buttons feel really nice and solid. I love the D-pad on the handheld, so the D-pad on this one, unsurprisingly, is good. Whoa, the missiles are good. I'm still dead. Okay, I'll need to put a bit more time in on that one. Let's have a look at another game. Block Out, the ultimate 3D mind teaser. Controls, insert coin, start game, spin the block, turn the block, flip the block, drop the block. Okay, this is probably going to take a little bit of figuring out. Looks like something that was inspired maybe a little bit by Tetris. This 3D puzzler will baffle your brain, so we've got a typo in there, but not to worry, and melt your mind. Looking down on a pit from above, you'll need to flip, turn, spin, and move the falling blocks to form solid layers of cubes. I do really like this interface. I know I was laughing at the typo there, but I mean, look at that. It's really, really nice. You've got all the artwork. It gives you a total feel for the game before you've even started it and found out that you suck very badly at it. Again, it just automatically adjusts there. The colours, you know, this is something I hadn't mentioned already, but the colours and the crisp graphics and everything through the HDMI look really, really good. So let's just put a few credits in and give it a start. We can see, I think warm up is probably about my skill level. We can have warm up, beginner, intermediate, advanced, or expert. So watch me fail on warm up. So it's like a wireframe block, and then I can drop that. Okay. Right, let's try something else. Mysterious Stones, Dr. John's Adventure. Dr. John no, not that one, is on a mission to uncover the lost treasure of various crypts around the world. I wonder what this one was inspired by. Even the music is just so Indiana Jones. We shoot the eggs. I think we might shoot the eggs. I can't get lined up with the eggs. Oh yeah, we shoot the eggs. I'm gonna be dead before I hit the floor. Haha, parachute time. I don't know what I'm doing. Okay, I can do little wheelies, that's good. Push it forwards and I go like that for my wheelies, okay. So we've put in another cartridge now, so this has got the Data East and there's some great games on this one. Chain Reaction, which is, what's the name of it? Magical Drop, seems to be Magical Drop under another name. A game I know how to play. Yeah! Darwin 4078, shoot 'em up. If you're playing this video game outside of the country of Japan, you are involved in a crime. I am involved in a crime. Evercade, what are you doing to me?
Mission 1.
Okay, this is actually not running very smoothly, but I don't know whether that's the console or the game. And the frame rate is pretty terrible, but you know, was it like that originally? I haven't got any basis for comparison. One thing I keep doing is I'll press select to come out and then I'll accidentally press play because the A and B are still taking some getting used to. Not tried burger time yet. Ooh, got an ice cream. Okay, got a little bit stuck on the ladder there. Definitely gonna get this done though. Yeah. Now it is getting late, so I think this is the last game I'm gonna play tonight. No. Yes. Come on. Oh, I like this one. Breakthrough. Always set up with a better view than me waving the camera about. If we go to display settings, we'll get the other stuff like it's set to pixel perfect, which is working quite well at the moment. We could go to full screen, and if we come back out of that, it sort of stretches it all to the full wide screen, which as we can see looks pretty horrible. And I think like the original ratio tends to work the best, but the pixel perfect does look really nice, so that's what I'm keeping it on. Shaders and scan lines, I haven't tried them yet actually, so let's try and see what it looks like with strong scan lines. And for the bezels, I've had box art on for ages. I think it looked really nice, but we'll go with logo legends instead and see how that looks. So there we go, so we've got our logos in the background. I don't really get the scan lines thing. It just makes it look not quite as good. It does look a little bit more authentic, I guess. Oh, I can jump over those bits. I see. Okay. Everybody's shooting at me. Ooh, is that something being dropped down for me? Thank you. And jump over that bit. Oh, maybe I should have jumped for the thing that was being parachuted down. Oh, I'm dead. What else have we got? So if you are saving, we could do quick save and load last save. So just quick save there, and it'll save the fact that I've died, and then I can carry on. So if I put like some more credits in and start in there, and then I press our middle button and go load last save, it'll load it back to where I was before. That's quite good if you're playing one of these games and you're doing quite well. You can just save that and then come back to it another time. Bad Dudes versus Dragon Ninja. I don't like the scan lines. Let's go back to display settings, get the scan lines off, and bezels. Let's see, is the Versus one? That looks quite nice actually, and that'll match with the main screen. So let's go with that. There we go. Let's get some credits in and press play. See if this goes a bit more smoothly than the Double Dragon 3. So I assume I'm the bad dude, and these are the Dragon Ninja. Oh, not very hard. Oh, okay. I can duck. Oh, thought they were for picking up. Okay. Okay, I was not expecting you to blow fire at me. Haha. Not bad. So on the main screen, if you click on the games menu, which is what we're on there, and there's the menu screen. Now I know that when you bring up the menu screen, it gives you options, but this seems to give you a little bit more. So you've got the display, you've got the theme, you've got the sound, you've got the network accessibility, blah, blah, blah. Now, if you go to credits, and we go all the way through, in theory, the founder's names should be there. All right, let's see. All the A's, B, C, D, E. Joey. Oh, look! Haha! My name's in the credits. Right, it's quite late now, but before we go to bed, let's have a little look through the rest. That was so cool. So in the credits, one of the things that I'd forgotten was that if you have bought the Founders Edition, then you are classed as one of the founders and you get listed in the credits. So just had a look in the credits and my name is in there, which I put in as Joe Bleeps, of course. Secret. Also, we've got secret codes and there's no up, down, left. So let's just come out of that. I'll have to find out, see if there's any secret code. Legal and support. All the credits for the game. System settings. Check for updates. Factory reset. Or map out your controller. Do you know, while I was playing before, I kept thinking I get confused with the A and the B. And I could actually do that to configure the controller. So if I hold the button, I'm on my Evercade VS wired controller. And then I can go up, down, left, right. Now I can go A, B and reverse those, and X and Y and reverse the behavior of those. L1, L2, R1, R2, start, select. Everything else is all okay. And the mapping is complete. So I can save and apply. Now this is the funny thing, I've just swapped A and B around, so it says save and apply, and then that will go to discard. So I don't want to discard that, I want to save and apply it. That's been saved and applied, so let's go back. Yeah, that worked. We can check for updates. The console is up to date. I've got firmware 2.01. Language, accessibility, toggle high contrast mode. High contrast mode will override the current theme. Do you wish to continue? So there's our high contrast mode. Oh, okay, that is bright, but it's much easier to see what is selected. I don't like it though. Let's bring it back to accessibility. Toggle high contrast mode. Deactivating high contrast mode will reset the theme to default. Do you wish to continue? Yes. Right, there we go. That's a little easier on the eye. Sound, background volume, sound effects volume. Theme. You can have dark, light, or VS Classic. I think the VS Classic looks quite nice actually. That's our VS Classic with all of the kind of purples and blues in the background. Or we can go on dark, and that's just like a bold black and red, which also looks pretty good. I like the purples and the blues and things anyway, but the red at the side stands out nicely. I mean, there's so much you can choose from. This is great. But that is enough for tonight. I'll see you back in the shed tomorrow morning. That was last night, and I ended up staying up way too late playing on that thing, which is definitely a good sign. Just going and opening one game after another, and that was only with opening up half of the cartridges. Obviously, I've still got a lot more to investigate with it. I've still got a lot more to play, but I wanted to round this video off and do a quick review. I do get the feeling I may be doing more videos on this thing in future. It might be quite interesting to have a go with a number of different controllers, because it's just got the USB ports on the front, and you can map out your own buttons, which we found out when we were testing it last night. It might be quite good to try it out with a few different controllers, so if you fancy seeing something like that, do let me know. As it is though, the main controller that comes with it, I'd heard mixed reviews on it because it is quite boxy. It is quite sort of square shaped, but I did find it comfortable, and I think the buttons and the D-pad are really nice on it. It's taken me a while to feel intuitive with where the start and select are, but I think that'll come with time. But on the whole, just in terms of general feedback on this thing, it wasn't particularly expensive. Like, I paid £160 for it, but that was for the super duper special limited Founders Edition with all the extra bits. For the console itself, it's much cheaper than that. So it it's definitely a very accessible piece of kit. It's nice, it feels very modern in terms of the look of it, particularly in black, but actually in some ways I'm a little envious of the white and red version because it does have a certain charm to it and it does look very retro. So I think either way, whichever model you get, you're winning. It was showing up because it's got like a matte finish black on the console itself. It was picking up the fingerprints where I was putting my fingers on top to lift up the lid, but they polished out fine, and that's just if you're fussy like me. I think largely though, it's the presentation, it's the interface, it's the attention to detail of when like you select the game and it gives you a little précis of what the game is about. It's got little screenshots, it's got the artwork. I mean, it's really, you can tell it's a labour of love, and you know, when you're enthusiastic about these vintage games, it's nice that they're given the attention that they rightly deserve. So yeah, I really like the interface. I like the fact that you can customize it when you shut down and restart the console. Obviously it keeps all of those settings. You can get it online. Now there's nothing like in terms of online multiplayer gaming yet, but you can go online, which makes it much easier for updating. You don't have to unplug it from your TV, connect it to your laptop, all the sort of stuff that you do with the handheld. Speaking of the handheld, I did struggle a little bit in terms of trying to get that to work as a second controller. It did work. If you want it to be the Player 2 controller, that's probably the best bet. So that red cable that came with it was the link cable, the adapter cable, and that allows you to connect the handheld as a controller. So a little bit of figuring out how to get that to work, but it did work. But my issue was that it only worked some of the time. You didn't have the full amount of control as you do with the main controller, particularly the sort of options menu button. It didn't seem to be working. That's not to say that it's an issue with the console. I've only spent one evening with it. I didn't read the instructions particularly thoroughly. It may be something I was missing. I am going to investigate that further, and when I report back on how I get on with other controllers with it, we'll revisit that handheld and see what other people have been doing, because obviously it's a new console, it's just come out, so I've yet to really, you know, chat with other people who've got one. If you've got one, by the way, and you've had more luck than me with getting that working, leave a message in the comments. I'd be interested to hear from you and see how you got on with that. These are some really old games, and many of which I would never have ended up playing, particularly, as I said before, when I was reviewing the handheld. When you've got like MAME and you've got these thousands of games, you're just completely overwhelmed with too many. When you've got a selection of like 10 or 7 or 8, it's like you end up playing them all and you end up trying them, and even if you only spend like 10-15 minutes on one and have a little go, you might end up revisiting it at some point. There's lots of variety in terms of the shooting games or the fighting games or puzzle games. It's just, before you know it, hours have passed on these quick fix little arcadey games. So I think it depends on what you like. Obviously, if you are a modern gamer and you don't really value retro games, this isn't going to win you round. But if you are fond of the, you know, the games of yesteryear, right down to the presentation, the packaging, the artwork, the games, the solid physical cartridges, the retro feel of the controller, you know, if that appeals to you, think about how much those retro consoles cost now. If you wanted to buy an original console to have a go on and relive those glory days, it's expensive. It's tricky to get things like the vintage computers actually set up and working on a modern TV. So to have something that you can just buy for very little, connect to your modern TV, switch on, and completely lose an evening playing on these games, I think it is well worth a look. I think it's a real triumph for Evercade, and I'm super stoked that I've pre-ordered it, and I'm looking forward to playing with it more. So that's pretty much my review for now. Obviously, I might do one from spending a bit more time with it. Certainly going to revisit looking at the controllers, but for now that is it. So I hope you enjoyed it. It is a little bit cobbled together because I wanted to just get a video together as quickly as I could and share it with you, and you know, see what you think, because this just came and I was all excited about it. So it's very much my little project for this weekend. But I hope you enjoyed it, and if you've got any comments, or certainly, as I said before, if you own one, leave a few comments and we'll have a bit of a chat. And leave a like if you enjoyed it. If you haven't subscribed yet, I really would appreciate that. We recently passed 3K. I don't know how I've managed to get 3,000 people subscribing to my videos, but there we go. Thank you so much. Massively appreciated. I was actually in the middle of editing a different video when the Evercade VS arrived, so I have got another video in the works, so I will definitely see you soon. But in the meantime, take care, and I'll see you next time. Bye.